As long as you're still here, God has a purpose and a use for you, after all. What's up, my EFF? Let me tell you how it is. You're listening to Jots, a podcast that explores the nature of love, compassion, joy, and the real-life connection between human beings. I'm Ender Bowen, Nashville, Tennessee rock-pop artist, author, husband, father, complete dork, and aspiring compassionist. Sit back, relax, and be prepared to laugh, cry, maybe even shake your fist at the moon for some reason. I firmly believe God has a purpose for me. Every night I try, and often forget, to send up a little prayer to God after I've laid down and turned off the light. In the silence of the night, which is pockmarked by a night light here or there, as the dog snores, the cats snuggle up, and my wife and children have long since passed out, I can focus my thoughts on simply thanking Him for allowing me to get through another day, to have the chance to do something better than I did the day before, and to learn and continue to try to succeed. Succeed in what? I don't really know. Not at making a good dinner, that's for sure. I know what I'm trying to succeed in, and to the best of my ability, I believe it to be, if not entirely, then at least in part, what it is He has in mind for me to do. Every night that I do remember to pray, I ask God to point me in the direction it is that He wants me to go, to show me what He wants me to do. I don't often get a direct answer, but I try to discern what it might be that God wants by attempting to align my capabilities with what's in my heart. In other words, my talents are what God has bestowed upon me, the tools with which I am to perform His assigned duties. My heart, my dreams, and my passions are the tasks that God has assigned. In theory, if I line up my dreams with my talents, my heart with my capabilities, I should be able to ascertain what it is I'm supposed to do, what He wants me to do. That's how I know I'm not supposed to be a cook. I have neither the talent nor the passion for it. Of course, the actual doing it is the really hard part, but maybe it's supposed to be. Maybe the act of both discovering God's assignment and then attempting to figure out how to perform and complete it is, in fact, the purpose of life. Or, in the very least, the purpose of what we're doing here on earth. But I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I wonder if God has a purpose or a plan for me at all. Or perhaps, maybe He did and I never quite figured it out, or properly pursued it, or followed all the clues. And as a result, He's abandoned me. At the time that I wrote the article that this podcast episode comes from, it had been a really rough 3.5 years. Without getting into too much detail, it was a constant struggle to ensure we could pay the bills, raise our daughter, and still try to accomplish the things that we wanted to do, which again, we believe to be the things He wants us to do. But oftentimes we felt like we were barely scraping by, that we were just surviving by the skin of our teeth, and at any moment, we could be on the precipice of ruin. We often felt stuck, stressed, exhausted, and going nowhere. In all of this, how do we know that God hasn't abandoned us? If He does have a plan, why are we over 40 and still struggling? How do we know we aren't just spinning our wheels and going nowhere? How do I know God has a purpose for me, for us? I asked these specific questions when I was praying one night, and the answer to each was very clear. We're still here. Yes, it's been hard. It's been a constant struggle, but at the end of the day, when I lay down to pray, I do it in a warm bed, next to a healthy and loving wife, under a roof that protects and shelters, safe in the knowledge that just as there was food on the table today, so there will be tomorrow as well. And apart from all of that, even without all of that, I'm still here. I'm still here on God's earth, still blessed with the talents He gave me and adding more to my arsenal every day. I'm still impassioned with the dreams He assigned me, doing everything I can to move forward. I know that God has a purpose and use for me because I'm still here. If God didn't have something for me to do here on earth, I wouldn't still be here. And look, I'm well aware of the fact that I'm not the only one struggling. I know you're struggling too. Sure, there are some days that are much easier than others, but for the most part, it's a grueling enterprise. It's hard to know if you have a purpose. I'm confident that you do. If you didn't have use for that car, you would sell it. You'd junk that fridge if you didn't have a need for it. If you didn't have any interest in watching TV, you wouldn't have bought the thing in the first place. The point is, you aren't just here for a reason, you're still here for a reason. And certainly, even if you can get your head around that fact, figuring out the reason or the purpose is still the most difficult part. Maybe you know exactly what your purpose is, but you're having a hard time making it happen. Be patient. Maybe you have an idea, but you've been thinking in terms too grand to be realistic. Guilty as charged. Well, consider your resources and distill this idea to its essence. Maybe you have no clue, and it's frustrating you to no end. You feel aimless and lacking for direction. Search your heart. What do you love? What are you passionate about? Do you have not just an affinity, but a capability for doing that thing? What if you try it in the opposite direction? What do you have a capability for? Do you like doing it? As confusing and frustrating as all this might be, it's not haphazard. You have talents and a love of performing those talents for a reason. You're here for a reason. You're still here for a reason. And as long as you're still here, God has a purpose and a use for you after all. In the midst of all the stress, confusion, and frustration, I find that thought wonderfully comforting. I hope you do too. All right, now it's your turn. Have you already figured out this passion, dreams, talents, assignment thing? If you have, what was that experience like? How did you figure it out? If you haven't, where are you getting stuck? Are you not sure exactly what your talents are? Or maybe you're not really sure what you're actually passionate about? Don't fret. That's actually really normal. Where are you getting hung up the most? I invite you to share your thoughts with me via email, ender@enderbowen.com, or you can go to enderbowen.com/Discord to learn how you can share your thoughts with the growing Ender Bowen community. I would love for you to share your thoughts about this episode with my growing community of aspiring compassionists. Find out how to join us on Discord by going to enderbowen.com/Discord. Look how easy I made that. If you like this episode, please subscribe to the God Jots podcast on your favorite podcast streaming service. You can also check out more God Jots, as well as subscribe to the mail list for ebooks, updates, and exclusive content at godjots.com. Until next time, be honest with yourself, be truthful with others, give people the opportunity to surprise you, and remember that it's impossible to have absolutely nothing in common with another human being. Be a little light in the world. I'm sure I'll see you soon.